Because while it is culturally diverse with differing personalities, it only thrives on interdependence, communications, and healthy relations. For almost all the tasks to be accomplished, a number of people are needed. That is why building relationships is essential to get things accomplished. Mann from Gateway's Business Consulting is in studio to dissect the subject by looking at a book called Humble Inquiry, The Gentle Art of Asking Instead of Telling, an organizational psychology book by Edgar Schein. Now, it's a book that explores the concept of humility from all sides, including managers, contrary to what is believed. Good to have you, Ian. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Leanne.
So I ask you in a nutshell what you think this book is, and you say to me this is a book that every single person should actually read.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. The problem, of course, is exacerbated in business, but I think that in homes, parents need to be able to talk to kids so that kids talk back.
Yeah.
People need to talk to their subordinates in such a way that subordinates feel comfortable contributing to the organization. Now, the reason for this is because businesses, and I suppose homes as well, are incredibly complex situations. And the reality is that if in a complex situation I need input from everybody in my group, so that in the past, all I needed from a worker for probably 1,000 years, all I needed from a worker was strong arms and a strong back.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me what he thought or what he felt. All it was give me your labor, and that's good enough. Today we don't need that stuff.
No.
We've automated most of it. We need people's intelligence. Now I need the person to feel comfortable enough to talk to me and tell me what's going on and to assist me. And that's what the book's focus is.
Let's take a step back. Tell us a little bit about the author, Edgar Schein.
Okay, Edgar Schein was probably the doyen, the founder of a whole field of a business called organizational psychology and organizational sociology. He taught at MIT probably for about 50 years. Well, not that long, but almost that. He's an old man. He's retired now.
Yeah.
And he suggests that this book is the culmination of all of his life's work. Everything's all put together here. And this, if you had to read one book, this would probably be the one that you should be reading of all of the work that he's done in the field.
All right. So if we look a little bit deeper into the book, I mean, there's so many I suppose cultural, organizational, and psychological barriers in an organization.
There are.
How do we overcome something like that, though?
The problem is this. Let's just take a really complex situation, an operating theater. You have the surgeon. Now, for some reason, in hospitals, the surgeons are the top of the pile, probably even higher than anesthetists or psychiatrists or pediatricians. They've got that status. Now, you're in the theater. You've got an anesthetist with you. You've got a couple of nurses, and you've got some technicians. The nurse sees something going wrong.
Yeah.
It is highly unlikely, given that hierarchical organization, that she's going to say,
something.
Doc, watch that, you're making a mistake. Now, the reality is that we need people to tell us when we're making mistakes. We can't see everything. And the old-fashioned manager believed that if I had to ask a subordinate for any input, I would be humiliated. Now, we need to understand the word humiliated. Humiliated means that the status I believe I'm entitled to, I'm not getting. That's what humiliation means. Now we need to, he says, exercise humble inquiry. Humble inquiry says, right now, here and now, I'm prepared to humble myself to get the information I need from you. If you can't fake this, because we always know at about 20 paces whether somebody's doing a job on us. But when somebody is learned how to do humble inquiry, they'll be able to get information out of their staff that they probably will not be able to get in any other form.
Yeah. Why are healthy relations so difficult? I mean, let's take the nurse, for example.
Yes.
For goodness sake, she could save a life, but
She
she's
could.
too scared to say something. What's the
That is
problem?
what you've just raised is a hugely important. If you look at the studies that they've done on disasters, whether it's the shuttles, whether it's a plane disaster, an oil disaster, in almost every single instance, the junior people had information that could have averted the disaster. And the interesting part is that they were so cowed. The organization has so cowed them into silence that they didn't even speak up when they knew something terrible would happen. Now, this is very, very serious. What it means is that we have to get into our organizations a climate in which people feel that it's safe to tell the truth. And the only way that can happen is if the attitude of a superior is one of humble inquiry. Let me just describe what humble inquiry would mean. Humble inquiry is asking you questions in such a way that shows you that I respect you and I'm not asking you to catch you out and I genuinely don't know the answer. Now, the traditional manager is supposed to be the oracle of all wisdom. So he's not going to ask a subordinate, what do you think? If he asks a subordinate, what do you think? He's got to ask her with a feeling of genuine humility. I want you, Leanne, to tell me, how do you see this?
Yeah.
I know how I see it, but how do you see it? Where do we differ? What can you help me with? And when I can, and you can tell whether I'm being genuine about it or not.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
if you
without
can
being condescending.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So if you can see that in me, you're likely to engage. And there's all sorts of things. I'll give you an example back from the surgeon. He suggests that he'd seen in the hospital where surgeons always sit with surgeons, nurses with nurses. One particular surgeon who wanted to create the environment used to take lunch with his staff, with the nurses and the technicians and the anaesthetists. And just having lunch together where all of us eat food, it's a leveling type of environment. We need to do those sorts of things in order to get our staff to talk to us.
That's incredible. I love that. Brilliant. So I remember a story. I see Valen coming in for sports news. I remember a story with Barack Obama when he, I think it was Oprah who offered, she was coming to Africa and he wanted to come to Africa at the same time. And she said, well, come in my private jet. And he said, no. He wasn't president at the time.
Okay.
I want to fly with the people because I want to talk to them and I want to know what the problems are. And if I don't speak to the people, I will never know. So I can't be isolated. I love that. So listen, we better get this book because this sounds brilliant, okay? Ian, thank you always for coming in and doing these. There's the book, Edgar Schein, Humble Inquiry, The Gentle Art of Asking and Not Telling. I love it. I think it's great. Let's look at your indicators.